Although the Atlanta Hawks fell in the first round of the playoffs to the Boston Celtics, despite a valiant effort to come back down 3-1, despite them being in a weird middle zone between contention and the bottom of the league where they're just kind of stuck, one thing I was very impressed by was their second-year forward, Jalen Johnson. The 6'8", 220-pound forward from Duke has had an interesting path to the NBA. Coming out of high school, he was a 5-star recruit. Many, including myself, thought going into that year, he would be a future top 5 pick and the next big-time Duke one-and-done star, following the footsteps of Brandon Ingram, Jayson Tatum, and Zion Williamson. However, due to a combination of injuries and other factors, Johnson would end up only playing in 13 games with the Blue Devils before leaving the program to prepare for the draft halfway through the college season. Despite not completely living up to the hype at Duke, however, I still view Jalen Johnson as a top 10 player in the 2021 NBA draft as a big athletic forward with passing tools and defensive upside. And I thought the Hawks getting him at pick 20 was terrific value, to be quite honest with you. Johnson spent a lot of his rookie season in the G League where he actually played well, and honestly I thought he should have been playing in the NBA his rookie season. Even if he wasn't starting, I thought maybe give him 15 minutes a night. I think that's something that could have benefited him. But in year 2, we did get that though. He played 15 minutes per game and saw the floor 70 times during the season. Despite limited opportunity, I was impressed by what I saw in the play-in and playoffs from Johnson as well. I think it's something that the Hawks fans should be very excited about. When you look at Jalen Johnson, the physical tools stand out immediately. 6'8", 220 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan. On top of that, he's also a great athlete. He runs the floor well, has good speed. He's a great vertical athlete with decent vertical range. I love his explosion when attacking the basket. He's really strong and physical. I saw him play in person during the Summer League right after he got drafted by the Hawks at 20th overall. And he's a great example of just how different it is seeing someone play on TV versus seeing them play in person. Because on TV, Johnson looks like a typical sized wing forward, but in person, he looks like what LeBron looks like on TV. He's just a massive human being with really good athletic traits. I do think he needs to work on his flexibility. That's the one area I think he needs to improve on as an athlete. But outside of that, he's absolutely incredible in just about every other athletic trait. Jalen Johnson's offense right now is a lot about play finishing. 41.9% of his field goal attempts overall were at the rim. When you take 3-pointers out of that and only focus on everything within the arc, 56.9% of his shots were at the rim, and 69.6% of his field goals were assisted on. This does make sense considering he only averaged 15 minutes per game this season, and he does play on a team with 2 ball-dominant creators in Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. On top of that, he has the traits you look for in a play finisher: good height, good athleticism, good strength, decent touch around the basket. And on top of that, the efficiency is good as well. 71.9% at the rim, 61.9% on shots within 10 feet of the basket. Like I mentioned in the video about Walker Kessler, while it is true that plays are easier to finish at the basket when you have a physical advantage, and also getting easier looks playing off of other good to great scorers, you still have to convert those opportunities to be effective, and Johnson does a good job of converting those opportunities. On top of that, I also think he's really good at attacking closeouts. He does flash some on-ball slashing ability that is interesting. Finishing will be his bread and butter on offense as a scorer. He has the tools to be effective, and even if it is a smaller sample, he does show promising ability in this area. Now, the shooting is kind of rough right now, to put it nicely. I notice a few things when he shoots the basketball. His shot prep is not great, to say the least. You'll notice on a lot of his misses on tape, his feet aren't completely set when he takes jumpers. He does this little pitter-patter with his feet as he goes into his shot prep. And considering that almost all of his, and actually all of his 3-point attempts were catch and shoot looks, that is something that I do think needs to improve. On top of that, I do think he somewhat struggles with shot strength. I'm not saying he's weak. I'm not saying that he doesn't have shot strength. What I mean by that is he doesn't fully understand how much strength he needs to put into his shots, and that applies to putting too much and too little strength into his attempts. This has led to a lot of misses that are too strong and too short at the same time. A decent amount of his misses are bad misses that hit front rim, back rim, or just flat out an air ball. I will say there's also a correlation between if he has his feet set or not and the types of misses he has. If he has his feet set, they aren't bad misses, it's usually an in and out type of miss. But when his feet aren't set, that's when you get those really bad misses. I do think he has potential as a shooter at the same time, however. First of all, he doesn't hesitate as a shooter. I don't get the sense that he's afraid to shoot the basketball, which is a good sign in its own right, especially with a young player that doesn't get a ton of opportunity. And when he does have his feet set, as he goes into his shot prep, it leads to better results. On top of that, I don't think he has bad upper body shot mechanics. His combination of that and the confidence, even when it doesn't go in, is why I'm encouraged by long-term potential if he continues to develop. I will say that, confidence is a double-edged sword when you talk about guys with high volume, but considering he doesn't get as much opportunity or freedom, it's not as much of a concern, especially considering what else he does as an offensive player. It's not a guarantee that he improves as a shooter, because only time will tell, but I do think it's a real possibility. If he does improve, it will expand what he can do on offense, because it will make his ability to attack closeouts, which he's really good at right now, even more dangerous than it already is. What I like most about Jalen Johnson on offense is his passing. Johnson has all the tools to be an elite connecting playmaker in my opinion. I know that might sound like a hot take considering he only averaged around 1.5 assists per game this season, but one, you gotta factor in he wasn't playing the most minutes, and two, you have to factor in the other players on the team. But when you watch the tape, you see all the signs. Good vision, good accuracy, relatively good decision making for someone with his level of experience, good understanding of his gravity, his passing signs most in transition, but he is capable in the half court as well. He does a good job of finding cutters and open shooters. He is an excellent passer when attacking closeouts. I think outside of transition, that's also where it shines the most. And I do think he is good enough to be utilized more as a playmaker and get more opportunities as a playmaker. I think it's something that Atlanta should utilize because it would allow Trae Young and DeJounte Murray to expand their games as an off-ball scorer, and it would make the Hawks offense way more effective than it is right now. I think Johnson at his best could be a 5 to 6 assists per game player on tape in terms of when you line up the impact with statistics, but even if he isn't, I do think his ability as a passer will always shine on tape. I don't think he will be asked to be a lead passer. I don't think he has primary potential, and it's not like he has to be. He's on a team with a top 5 playmaker in the world in Trae Young. But regardless of that, he can bring real value as a passer, and I hope Atlanta realizes that they can use that to expand the offense and be more effective. Jalen Johnson has all the tools to be a really good player. Athleticism, frame, skill, potential to grow as an offensive player, and really good defense. I know I didn't talk a lot about the defense in this video. Actually, I didn't talk about defense at all until now. But it's something that, one, could be its own video because I think his defense is just that interesting to talk about. And two, it would have made this video way too long. And I already uploaded a really long video yesterday, so I don't want to make this one too long. But when it comes to Jalen Johnson, to get back on track, I think he could be one of the better all-around players in the league if he develops properly. If the shooting improves, I think high-level starter to borderline all-star is not out of the question. And I don't think it would be shocking if he reaches his 100th percentile outcome that we're looking at a 15 to 17, maybe 18 point per game scorer, 6+ rebound per game, 5+ assists per game player with really good defense. And depending on the team and the year, that could get you some all-star selections. It's not a guarantee that Jalen Johnson does reach these kind of outcomes. A lot of things have to go right, but the potential is there, and he will need to work on things to reach that potential, obviously. But I am confident that if he gets more opportunities, he will improve. And if he does improve, he will prove that he should have gone a lot higher in the draft than he actually did. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, so if that's something that interests you, really think you enjoy this channel, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways you can help me out, help support the channel, helps me on the YouTube algorithm, because it means that when you do those things, more people find the video, so in turn helps the channel grow so I can make more content for you guys consistently in the future. Let me know what you think about Jalen Johnson in the comment section below. Would love to hear your thoughts down there. Make sure you also go check out my basketball video essay channel, making videos about basketball over there as well, obviously, but more laid back. I show more personality, not as much in depth, more about my general thoughts about basketball, whether it be about specific games or general topics, things like that. So like that type of content where I show more personality, feel free to check that channel out. That being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.